Hey Kingdom Fit Moms, welcome to day 3 of the Best Year Ever challenge where we're getting clear on your back to school weight loss plan so that you can make yourself a priority this year. And no more making everyone else's needs the only thing that matter. So before you listen to this podcast, I want you to really be all in August 5th through 9th, and you're going to have something to listen to each day and share inside of the Kingdom Fit Moms Facebook group. So go back and listen to days 1 and 2 before you jump into today's podcast so you're all caught up. And if you have been listening along with us, you know that each day I have a giveaway for you, and I am announcing those inside of the Kingdom Fit Moms Facebook group, so make sure you're in there. But today's giveaway is sponsored by my friend Larissa Lingelier, and she's from Oliveda, which is a company that is newer to me, but amazing, you guys. So I'm all about skincare, especially clean skincare. And Oliveda, or Olive Tree People, it's a waterless skincare company based on replacing water in their formulas with olive leaf elixir. I don't know, sounds fancy, right? But it's been in Germany for over 19 years. And it's good stuff. So Larissa is giving away a hair care bundle and also something called Oliveda I01, which is a pint-sized drinkable cure, which packs a power punch against many infectious viruses and harmful environmental influences to help you to detox. So she's giving away both of those in her giveaway bundle. So make sure that you listen to today's podcast and you share the podcast on social media, especially Instagram. Tag me in their stories at Kelsey Wickenhauser, and you'll get extra chances to win every time you share. All right, let's get started on day 3 of the Best Year Ever challenge. Hey, welcome to the Kingdom Fit Moms podcast, where we believe that you can go on a journey to lose weight for the last time. I know you've tried all the things and you may not believe me yet, but when you do weight loss the Kingdom Fit Moms way, everything changes. You're in the right place if weight is constantly on your mind, you're confused about food, you're missing out on memories, and maybe even putting your dreams off for another day because this weight struggle is no joke. We're a community and we're on a mission to invite God into this weight loss journey so you can shed the burden and shine your light. I want you to start living and believing in the version of yourself that heaven sees. Let's get started. Okay, who's getting pumped to have their best year ever? I hope that you are having some momentum, some excitement, some hope that you can totally do this, mama. You can let go of the weight struggle. This can be your best year ever and beyond. This can be the year that everything shifts. So I hope you're getting excited, but we are going to dive in to day 3. Hopefully you're caught up by now. You all have been commenting and sharing inside of our Kingdom Fit Moms Facebook group about, first of all, how you're releasing the old and stepping into the new this year. You're not hiding. You're not, pretending like this isn't a struggle anymore. We're moving on from that and we are taking back control. And now, as of yesterday, we have a plan and we are, switching up our schedules and we're creating boundaries to help us to practically meet our goals. But today is all about eating and what we should eat. And I titled this podcast, The Simplest Way to Eat to Lose Weight, because most of the time diets and weight loss has been really complicated. And that's because we live in a society where diet culture is a thing. And, I grew up hearing a lot of people saying things like, I'm on a diet, which was different from the way that they normally ate. And it always ended at some point, right? And I have had seasons in my life where I have counted calories, I have counted points in Weight Watchers, I've been on no-carb, I've done many things in different seasons to try to lose weight or avoid gaining weight. I particularly lived in a season where I would out exercise, a bad diet. I grew up an athlete, so that was always my saving grace. And I would worry about weight, but you wouldn't know it because I wasn't overweight for a lot of that. But I would dread like gaining a pound, and I would spend way too much time in the gym for the wrong reasons. And it was bondage, frankly, because I would have my little late night snacks and I was saving up for that just to go back to the gym. It just wasn't a healthy balance in the way that I was thinking about food and eating. And I was like at a point where I asked the Lord, how do I get out of this? Like, there's got to be a better way because, when we walk with Jesus, God promises us that we have freedom and we have abundant life. And to me, it seemed so not free to be all consumed by food. So all of the things that I've mentioned already, those are the world's way of eating. But today we are switching this up and we're going to make your life so much easier. You're welcome. And if you have been listening, you know what I'm about to say, but it's a good reminder to go back to this because we can easily get sucked into all these different ideas about food. But ultimately, what you need to do, okay, get out your pencil. This is going to be a short little lesson here. We'll dive into some of the specifics within that. But what you've got to do is get back to eating real food. So real food, what does that mean? Well, if you can grow it or you can kill it, if it grows on a tree or you can raise it, it's real food. Okay, it doesn't have a label. There's no ingredients. It just is what it is. If you are, strolling along mostly the outside aisles at the grocery store, that tends to be mostly real food as opposed to all the aisles with all the fun kid marketing ploy stuff in the middle, right? Depending on where you shop. So an example, picking an apple from a tree, an apple is real food. When you make it into applesauce and you put it in a jar with, extra sugar, whatever preservatives are in there, it's a little less real food, although you can have real food applesauce. And then you get into an apple fritter, which has apples in it, but also other things that might not qualify, but are still tasty. And then you have apple Laffy Taffy, which just isn't real food at all. It's pretty much completely man-made. So you can see the different levels there. We want to be on the opposite end of the spectrum of Laffy Taffy, where we're eating the food that God made. Okay. So I think it'd be good to just talk about some of these barriers to having a real food lifestyle. So the biggest barrier, the number one barrier to eating real food consistently has nothing to do with the practicalities of it, but it has to do with the mindset. Because if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't like a lot of that stuff, or that sounds boring, the problem is the mindset is that it feels like restriction. And this requires a heart shift. It requires a different way of thinking and understanding what the enemy has stolen. And this is a huge part of what I teach on inside of my program, Fit Moms Accelerator. We are big on exposing the lies and getting real about how the government and money and marketing and all of these things have skewed what we see as normal food. And so you got to develop that righteous anger and really get curious about, why do I eat the things I eat and why do I think this is normal? Because that has to shift. And that it took me a while to go on that journey, over a decade ago. I will say some helpful books have been the Daniel Plan, Body by God, It Starts with Food. Those are a few of my favorite books that help me to understand the difference and to see where some of the lies were. But you have to come on a journey, hopefully with us inside of Fit Moms Accelerator, of relaying the foundations of what is food. Just like with anything that you discover where you're living in sin. Now, I'm not saying that eating a donut is sin necessarily, right? It's a heart posture, but also there is the reality that sin, it's an archery term of missing the mark of God's original design. And so if we're eating processed foods all the time, that's missing the mark. That's not what he designed. It leads to disease and obesity and depression and feeling like you have no energy. So I think in the definition of that word, sin, looking at it like that, yeah, like we need to uncover why we got to this point. So if we're walking in any area of sin, we're yelling at our kids, or we're, having a problem with our spouse and we're being disrespectful, or, whatever the things are, we have to go on this journey of uncovering, okay, what is the root and why did I get this way? Where did I learn this? Where am I experiencing hurt, etc.? And so those are the things that we have to help you to get to. But specifically in today's talk, it has to do with the mindset of what is food. And also a big part of what I love teaching on with my students is restoring the glory of God in real food. And when you start not only figuring out where the enemy has lied to you, but also uncovering how food is designed in such amazing ways that fuel our body and are medicine to our body. Going back to that apple example, apple in the skin of apple. Well, okay, let me say this first. The saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So there's some reasons for that. When you think about going to the doctor, one of the main reasons is for a cough, right? I've worked in primary care. Everybody's got a cough in the winter. And when you eat an apple, the skin of an apple has something called quercetin, and that specifically helps to lower inflammation in your lungs. So God's design is so cool. And when you start going on this discovery of finding the treasure in real food and understanding it, you're going to want to eat more of it. Now, other barriers to eating real food, maybe it really does taste bad to you, and that's because your taste buds have been skewed from all the processed addictive foods. So it's going to take a season of changing your taste buds. So maybe you just rip the Band-Aid off and you come into our community and you do a real food reset with us. We do every other month. That is one great way to jump in and change your taste buds and to get curious. But sometimes it does take a detox process, but be willing to go there and trust it. Also, sometimes it can feel daunting of what to even cook. And so being in a community where you get to discover and try new recipes and get curious and share ideas, that's really helpful so that you don't feel alone. Also, it can feel daunting that you have to make these fancy, elaborate meals with all these ingredients that you don't know. That is not what I advocate for. I think meal plans that are so simple are where it's at, okay? So you can have a protein, you can grill some chicken, you can cook some burgers, do whatever's really simple for a protein and pair it with a vegetable and maybe have a little bit of a sweet potato, and that's a perfect meal, okay? So simplify. And it takes a commitment also to see how you're going to feel and not give up after a couple of days, because you'll hit that detox, a few days in. Right now, inside of Fit Moms Academy, we're doing something called a 30-day push, where we're eliminating sugar and processed foods completely for 30 days to see the scale drop. And once you hit days 4, 5, 6, sometimes there is a bit of a detox process, but then it gets better and you get that high of energy and brain fog lifts. So you have to press in and you have to be willing to not give up. So I just want you to hear this if you get nothing else out of this podcast today. But you don't need to count things. You don't need to get into the weeds about macros or carb cycling or fasting until you do this other work, especially the mindset work and the heart work along with the Lord. And we're going to talk more about that tomorrow as well. But we are going back to God's design for food. I was just talking to a friend this past week, and she was telling me how she had a season where she counted macros. And there's a lot of macro coaches out there, which can be fine in a season, especially if you're trying to shred. But my listeners, it's usually not where you're at, right? Like you're just tired of dieting and feeling bound by food. So if you go do macros, it's just one more thing. It's going to make you feel bound to food. So anyway, my friend, she was saying that macros, they worked in a season, but she was really just creating her macro plan to eat what she wanted otherwise. So it was still bondage, okay? And that's what I used to do to out-exercise a bad diet and to save up food. So it's so freeing when you can release all of that and get to the point where you're eating real food, and enjoying the glory of God in real food. So today, for our Best Year Ever Challenge, day 3, I want you to pop inside of the Kingdom Fit Moms Facebook group and I want you to tell us 3 swaps you intend to start making with real food. So maybe that's your afternoon snack. Maybe you got to give up the bread and the pastry for breakfast. Maybe you're going to let go of the late night bowl of chips. And if you're really hungry, have some olives and cashews. I don't know, but I want you to start thinking about what real food swaps you're going to make, just starting with 3 of them. And then declare those and tell us in the community for Best Year Ever Challenge Day 3. So this is one step in the right direction. I can't wait to hear what you come up with, and I can't wait for you to have your best school year ever. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Hey Fit Mom, if this episode blessed you today and you can think of somebody else who's struggling in her weight loss journey, would you consider sharing this week's episode with her to give her a sense of hope? And then while you're at it, hop on over to our free Facebook community, Kingdom Fit Moms, for daily encouragement and support. Let's go shed the weight to shine the light.